it.
Yo, welcome to episode 12 of the GM podcast. Today we have our top 10 NFL receivers. And I'm a route technician,
Yep.
so I think my list is by far gonna be better than my boy Gas here. But for me, this list was pretty easy. I thought there was like a clear top 10 and then maybe like two or three guys that I wouldn't be mad if you had them in the top 10. But yeah, did you have a hard time making this list?
No, I think mine's gonna be definitely different than yours.
Yeah.
But I would say we might. I'd be surprised. I think we might have some similar. Maybe the order might not be the same, but I think we should have something similar. But I could be
Yeah.
wrong.
Okay. All right. Well,
But
we can
yeah,
go
we
ahead.
can
We
go
can
ahead
go
and get
ahead and
to
start
it.
off. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
who do you have at number 10?
Number 10. Okay, I know I argued with this that he wouldn't make it, but at Devontae Smith, I have him at 10.
All right.
I think he's definitely a top 10 receiver. Players that I might thought of having ahead of him. It's almost like a what if factor. Like if they had a better quarterback, if they had this, but I mean they don't. And I know what I'm getting from Devontae Smith when he does have a pretty talented roster around him and he produces. And some people are arguing saying he might end up being the number one in Philadelphia, but
Yeah.
that's I don't know. But so he moved in to number 10 on my list. But yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, there were some honorable mentions I had for me. It's really two, but Mike Evans, a
Oh,
guy
me too.
who,
Yeah.
yeah, Mike Evans. He's a guy who's been doing it for 10 plus years. Has not had an 1,000 yard season. He's a dog, big receiver. I think at this point in his career, it's just he's slowing down a little bit. I mean, when you're a big guy like that, you
Yeah.
tend to take bigger hits to bring you down, and I think he's deteriorating a little bit. But he's still definitely an elite receiver. And the other guy that I
Yeah.
came across was Keenan Allen. Um,
Okay.
Watching him run routes is like poetry. He's made a living off of that. He's a guy that doesn't have top end speed, doesn't have top end agility at the end of the day, but he's always open, and he's been a great target for whoever's he's had, whether it be Philip Rivers or Justin Herbert throughout his career. So, wanted to give a quick shout out to those guys. But at my number 10, I had CeeDee Lamb. Oh wait, you want to do your honorable mentions real quick?
Yeah, just real quick. I had those two on my honorable mentions as well, but two other ones that I would like to have. It's a pretty long list. Towards like around 7 through 10, it could have really gone either way for me for a lot of these guys, or 8 through 10, whatever you want to. The back end of this list, but Garrett Wilson, maybe if he had a better situation,
Okay, yeah,
he could end up being, and I think he will end up being a top 10 receiver in this league. He's very talented, and DK Metcalf. I mean, he
yeah,
always finds a way in the end zone.
yeah.
That he was. I wanted to put him at 10, but
Yeah.
it was right there for him and Devontae Smith for me. But yeah,
Another guy we don't know a lot about yet is Nico Collins from Houston. He's
yeah,
looking like he's one of the best weapons. He's going to be one of the best weapons in the future for CJ Stroud. He's top five in receiving yards right now, so shout out to him as well.
how do you real quick before we get started with your number 10 and you
Yeah,
elaborate on that? What do you think about Puka Nacua?
he played against us, man. That dude's a dog. I mean, he sometimes like his counterpart, who will probably be listed on this list later, by both of us.
Yeah,
Some dudes just find a way to get open, and that's
yeah,
the end of the day. You don't see this dude being ultra shifty, ultra smooth, but he's a route technician, like I said. He knows his ways to get open. Strong hands, strong built guy. I think give him a year, he can easily be on this list. He'll be one of Matthew Stafford's favorite targets. All right, I'm gonna get into my number 10 though. I have CeeDee Lamb. Um, this is a guy. If he wasn't on the Cowboys, I would love him so much more. But dog, he is smooth as butter. Like I think he might be the smoothest guy on this list in my opinion. I love watching him play. As far as getting open, he might be one of the best in the league. He has very great top end speed. You saw it at Oklahoma. I mean, when this guy has the ball in his hands, he is elite. Um, Unfortunately, he has to play with Dak Prescott. Last night, there were many they were getting into disputes on the sideline with CeeDee Lamb getting angry. Um, that they couldn't get him the ball. I mean, it's like Jamar Chase said the other day. He's a guy that's always open. You can't really do anything to stop him. So yeah, I have CeeDee Lamb at number 10. One of my favorite receivers. If he wasn't on Dallas, he might be my favorite receiver. Um, but who do you have at number 9?
Number 9. I know I said I didn't have a lot of what ifs on my thing, but I think Terry McLaurin at number 9.
Mm,
He's a receiver that I know if he had a better situation that he'd be a dog. And he's already with Sam Howell looking much better. And I mean, I know I'm pretty sure, I know for sure we might be having some 6, 7, he'd be edging on that. He probably wouldn't be top 5, but he'd be edging on that top 5 if maybe he played for a top team in the league and had a top quarterback, but he doesn't. So I'm still gonna have him at 9 though.
Yeah, I do wish he had a better situation. At number 9, I have Devontae Smith. Um, right now he's in a number 2 situation, so he can't shine as much as some of these guys ahead of him. But dog, I mean, dude is an athlete. He just know at the catch point. I think he's one of the most impressive receivers I've ever seen. I mean, you put guys like Megatron, obviously Randy Moss up there, and with the guys in the league right now, you really don't have as good of a jump ball receiver other than Mike Evans than Devontae Smith. I mean,
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts put the ball up there. Devontae Smith's down there somewhere. Go get it. He's a guy I love to watch. Great route runner, can go from the slot and outside. Same thing with CeeDee Lamb. And I do value versatility with a lot of these guys, which is why Mike Evans might have not made the list. But yeah, I mean, Devontae
Right.
Smith is a dog. He's honestly a good blocker too. That obviously I don't know that about other receivers. I'm an Eagles fan, but I mean,
Yeah.
he's a dog out there. I feel like if you don't have him in your top 10 just because he's a number 2, it's not fair to him, bro. There's a reason why the Eagles are 5-0, just like there's a reason the 49ers are 2-0. Well, also, what do you have anything to say about Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk before we proceed? Like, what you think about them? Are they on your list? Okay, never mind. Okay, well, I'll just say I assume Brandon Ayuk is not on your list. He's another guy that's smooth as butter, and when you put the ball in his hands, he can also be a dog. We can
Yeah.
move on. We can move on to number 8 though.
So yeah, number 8, I have Deebo Samuel.
Okay.
You just talked about versatility. He's probably one of the most versatile receivers in the league. He can run, he can catch, you can line him up at running back and he can catch out of the backfield. He can do a lot. Like there's really not a place he can't play on the field. Um, and I think he's done it in clutch moments over the playoffs the past couple of years. He doesn't look like he's slowing down, and he's gonna have another big season and another big postseason. So I mean, I think it's fair to have him on this list. Some people want to classify him receiver, not a receiver, but I think he's a receiver, and I put him in that category. He's just versatile.
Yeah, I can't be mad at you for that. I personally didn't have him on my list, but I mean, it's like when you go on like 24/7 Sports or any of these recruiting sites and you see athlete,
Oh,
that's an
that's him.
athlete right
Athlete.
there. Athlete. You don't. So
That's
that's why
athlete.
I personally, if there's a football player that I want, and I was talking about this. I think 2 years ago was when he really shined, when they made the
Yeah.
championship game against the Rams. I mean,
Yeah.
bro, other than like, I mean, they have CMC on that team, who's another one of those guys who you just put the ball in their hands, let them work. Deebo Samuel, as far as the receiver position goes, is people who are listed as mainly receivers. It's a guy who you want the ball in their hands 100%. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the reason he didn't make my list. But for number 8, I have Terry McLaurin. Like you said,
Okay.
um, he's never had a great quarterback and has always put up numbers, put up stats. It's a guy you have to have on your list regardless. I don't care what the situation is. He is a top 10 receiver. As far as the jump ball goes, he can do that. Strong hands at the catch point. Good track. He can track the ball. He gets open. He has good top end speed. Terry McLaurin is a guy you have to have in your top 10 at the end of the day. He gets the job done more than a lot of these guys. But who
Yeah.
do you have in your number 7?
My number 7, I have Cooper Cup.
Yeah.
He would be much higher on my list if he didn't just come off injury. I think he'd be around 5 or 6, maybe even 4. He just had 2 years ago the greatest season for a receiver all time, you could say. And I mean, he's going to be a top guy in the league for years to come. He's one of those guys, like you said, it doesn't look pretty, but he just gets open. Like
Yeah.
he finds a way to get open and he finds a way to make plays. He finds the hole in the defenses. Pause. But I mean, yeah, he's a playmaker.
Yeah. I also have Cooper Cup at that 7th spot. Like you said, I mean, he might even be higher if it wasn't for his durability issues because he does get hurt often. But I don't know, man. It's a guy that gets the job done. Especially at the end of the day, you have to take QB into consideration with this, and those two have a terrific connection. Yeah, I mean, strong hands. It's a strong build. I guess the Rams like their big receivers over there who can, they just want guys who are intelligent, can find the holes in the defense, pause like you said. But yeah, Cooper Cup's a dog, and I think hopefully that can continue. I hope his injury struggles, because if him and Puka can stay together, they're a problem, man. They're a problem.
Yeah.
Who do you have at your number 6?
At number 6, I have AJ Brown.
Okay.
For the Eagles, he's a dog. I still think I like him better than Devontae Smith. I like him at number 1. He's big receiver, finds ways to get open, like you said, but it's almost like DK Metcalf. I don't think one person can't take him down. Like when he gets an open field, he's tough to tackle. And I mean, his resume, I mean, just what he did this past year with the Eagles going to the Super Bowl speaks for itself, and he's only doing better. And a lot of overreactions to the first couple of weeks of him, like not doing great. And he literally the next week he bounced back, and he's been killing these past 2-3 weeks. He's just been killing. So
AJ Brown is also my number 6. He's a guy that people don't want to take down. DBs don't like to tackle. I can tell you that from personal experience. Maybe safeties who get their head in their corners don't like to tackle. He's mainly at the number 1 spot a lot. So, I mean, he's a guy you can throw the ball up to, and he'll just go get it. He has great top end speed for a big guy like himself. And yeah, I mean, shit. If I was a DB, I wouldn't want to tackle his ass either. Honestly, I mean, he's huge, bro. So he'll continue to be a monster. He's been durable his entire career. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like AJ Brown as a receiver. So who do you have as your number 5?
My number 5, and I want to say at times a couple years ago I had him at like, he might be number 1 or 2. Ja'Marr Chase.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I have him at number 5 right now as of this season. He scored his first touchdown the other day, first touchdown of the season. Not to overreact, because we know he's a great receiver, and the Joe Burrow struggles with the calf and all that. But it's more of the guys I have ahead of him. It's just more production of this season. I think my top 5, it could literally go. A lot of them could go literally any other way. I mean, 5 could be 1, and
I agree with you on that. I think
5.
So. We obviously have the same top 5. I'm scared that it's going to be the exact same order, but yeah, I think these 5 guys, if you put them any way you want to, I wouldn't have an issue with it. Like, it would make sense.
Yeah.
There's one guy on this list where you have to have top 3 at least, but I mean, however you want to do that 5, it's fine. But yeah. At 5, I also have Ja'Marr Chase.
Okay.
Probably him and Devontae Smith are easily the best jump ball receivers in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The thing that separates him is when he has the ball in his hands. He's a big receiver as well. It may not look it. He's not an AJ Brown, but he's hard to tackle. He built like a running back, honestly. Strong hands.
He can take the top off of any coverage almost.
Exactly. Top end speed. He's probably the most athletic player on this list.
Yeah.
Other than one guy, but yeah, I mean, him and Joe Burrow, that's some magical connections that will continue to happen. Even from the LSU days, that's going to be a scary tandem that they have to keep together for probably the next decade. Yeah. Who do you have at your number 4?
Number 4, I have Diggs.
Okay.
That's the same as you. But Diggs, from a production standpoint, you could put him at 2 or 3 this season. Like he's killing right now. Him and Josh Allen look great. They always do in the regular season, but and even Diggs looks great in the postseason. It just seems like it's only Diggs in the postseason for the Bills offensively, and Josh Allen and Gabe Davis, but just pretty much only passing in the postseason. But I just have Diggs at 4 because, like I said, like it's nothing. Again, it's not really a negative thing I could say about Diggs. It's just I love my top 3, and so yeah.
Yeah, at 4 I have Devontae Adams. He's a guy that was number 1 for a long period of time, but I think this year, unfortunately, playing with Jimmy G or whoever else they have at quarterback, You can't put him as high. But easily the best route runner in the league. I mean, that's literally poetry watching him run routes. It's beautiful to watch. Great hands. He's not really a jump ball receiver, but great hands. I mean, what else can you say about a guy he's produced over and over and over again? And
Yep.
I think he has the best release in the league as well. Not a lot of guys can press him. Today, we just saw the Packers' genius idea try to put Preston Smith on him. That didn't work out, obviously. But yeah, Devontae Adams is a problem. Who do you have at your number 3?
Yeah. I'm a number 3. I have Adams. Like I said, I think his production will go down this year with Jimmy Garoppolo. But you never know. I mean, he did it with Derek Carr last year, who obviously is still better than Jimmy Garoppolo. But he's proved to done it with multiple quarterbacks now, from Aaron Rodgers to Jimmy Garoppolo. He's still top 3 receiver in my opinion. Definitely top 5. But yeah, like you said, he's the best route runner in the league. I don't think a lot of people debate that. And past couple of years in the past, like people are like, oh, that's number 1 receiver. Like he's the number 1 receiver. And when you give him a talented quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, or if he still had a talented quarterback, I still think we might have him at that number 1 slot. But
Yeah.
like I said, I'm not basing a lot of this off what ifs. So I have him at number 3.
Yeah. Well, at my number 3, I have Stephon Diggs.
Okay.
This is my favorite receiver in the league is Stephon Diggs. At the end of the day, just his mannerisms, he's a dog at the end of the day. He gets open. I think he is the smoothest receiver in the league. Just watching him run routes, he gets open. He does. It's pretty too how he gets open. Strong hands.
Yeah.
He's a guy, slept on guy you could throw it up to, and he'll probably come down with it as well. And
yeah,
maybe not as big as these other guys, but year after year, as far as Minnesota goes, he's been producing at the highest level he could produce at. So you cannot have a guy like Stephon Diggs outside the top 5. So I guess we can get.
I think the trade.
Go ahead.
I think that trade between Justin Jefferson and Justin Jefferson was the draft pick, and Diggs is probably one of the most fair trades in professional history.
Absolutely.
That leads me to my number 2, Justin Jefferson. A lot of people would have him 1. A lot of people have him 1 after last season, which I would have had him 1 after last season, like debatably, but I would have had him 1. Yeah, I don't have much to say about that. Justin Jefferson, he's up there with route runners, playmaker, jump ball, he can go get it. There's not a lot of things he can't do. You can go ahead with your number 2. I want to see what you have here.
I flipped them. So
okay.
I got Tyreek Hill. It's a guy you have to have in your top 2, top 3. I mean, he breaks defenses' game plans at the end of the day. With his speed, probably the fastest player in NFL history, if you really think about it, or as far as how effective his speed can be. Yeah, Tyreek Hill's a problem. And then obviously we can focus on the speed. We already know how fast he is, so I'll get into some of his other attributes. 5'6", and you can throw a jump ball to this guy. That should say something about how special of a receiver he is. He's a strong guy. He's tough to take down. Obviously, with the ball in his hands, he's a problem. I honestly think, other than Mike Evans, guess I'm influencing myself to put Mike Evans on this list maybe, but he has the strongest hands in the league. Like, watching him catch a football, it's like he aggressively comes down with that ball. Like, pause. He's special when it comes to that department. But I'll go ahead and go into my number 1, and then you can finish with Tyreek Hill. Justin Jefferson, he does everything at the highest level. Jump ball, got that. He can go from the slot and outside, obviously. Strong hands, gets open. I mean, watching him get open, like there'd be nobody around Justin Jefferson when he catches the football. It's ridiculous. Run after catch, he can do that as well. And he's produced at the highest level. So I got to have some recency bias. I mean, even this year, as the Vikings are struggling, he's balling out. So I do have Justin Jefferson at number 1. Talk to me about Tyreek.
To build off what you said with Tyreek, not much to say. I mean, everyone knows but one thing I will say is he could take the top of any coverage. And I said this in the past. There's not really a coverage I mean, even if you double him, like he could just run. Like there's no real coverage that can. I mean, you could try to slow him down. It's kind of like the NBA when you have an offensive player. It's kind of like, yeah, you could try to slow him down, but he's gonna get his. And if you worry too much about him, the rest of his teammates will go off. And you're seeing that with their speed now in Miami, um, with Achan or however you say it, and Waddle and Moster. I mean, that's a talented roster.
It's fast.
Um, it's fast. It's probably the fastest team in NFL history that I can think of. Like they're just a lot of people saying Achan is faster than Tyreek Hill, but that's I don't know about that. But
Yeah.
he's bad.
Yeah.
But he's one of the only NFL players in NFL history. He's it's a handful in NFL history that can take a 5-yard route, take a screen pass, he can legitimately take it to the house. Like he can legitimately take it all the way. That's what's special about him. He can score a touchdown on any given play.
Yeah.
And he can also, I know they don't use him much anymore, but he could special teams, he can. I mean, he was all pro special teams before becoming a receiver. So yeah,
Yeah. I think, yeah, like you said,
that's
and
why I
with this,
really
with this Dolphins team, the thing that makes them scary is their speed. Because if you want to go cover one, you can't guard them. I mean, that's man on man coverage. No one's keeping up with Tyreek. If you go cover two or cover three, you could put Tyreek in the slot, and that middle of the field is going to be wide open. You literally have to bracket this guy, or the outsides of the field are going to be open. And you don't want Tua to have a check down to Achane or Mostert because they'll burn you with speed as well. You go cover four, you send everybody deep trying to suppress this guy. They just run a dagger concept to where Jalen Waddle can just run a dig in the middle, and then two safeties are back there chasing Tyreek Hill. There's no one to cover Waddle, and Waddle's top end speed, probably top 3 in the NFL right now. So I mean, there's not a lot you can do with that Dolphins team. That's what makes them scary. But
yeah. And to finish off this video, I just want to say, like, after debating, going back and forth, I mean, I left a lot of guys on my list that are extremely talented that maybe if, like I said, I didn't do a lot of what is other than maybe like Terry McLaurin, but there's a lot of guys who can, like, NFL, like, it's the receiver era. Like, there's a lot of talented receivers. I mean, we haven't even talked about DJ Moore, like you just said, Jalen Waddle,
yeah,
and we had 4 honorable mentions. Like, you could make about 6 to 8 honorable mentions that you never know if they had a better situation. I mean, we saw DJ Moore the other night go off, and his quarterbacks have been Baker Mayfield and Andy Dalton and Justin Fields. So, I mean,
you
yeah,
still got Chris Olave. I mean, there's a lot of I mean, it's a receivers league
we can go
nowadays. Yeah, so yeah. That's a good episode though. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, all that. Probably gonna drop 2 episodes, so y'all can watch this and another one. But yeah, peace out.